Good morning. This recording is for pre-algebra, chapter 5, lesson 5, using customary units. Customary units are units we use in the United States as opposed to the metric system, which most of the rest of the world uses. And I know we've already talked about the metric system. That would be like King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. Kilo, deca, hecca, hecto, sorry, not hecca, hecto, centime, milli, grams, liters, meters. Well, customary units are, again, what we use in the United States. Like, you're measured in pounds. Oh, hold on, guys, hold on. Hey, folks, sorry about that. The phone rang. So, again, you're measured in pounds and ounces, especially if you're a baby. Your car in the United States is measured in tons. When we say how tall you are, we measure you in feet and inches. We don't measure you in centimeters or meters. And when it comes to capacity, we ask for a cup of something, or when you go to the store, you get half a gallon or a quart. A pint is usually like what your what the milk that you can buy get in Michelle's Cafe is measured in. All right, so this is what we use in the United States. And the only thing is we got some very funky units. In the metric system, we go by tens and thousands and million parts, where everything's divisible by 10. It's usually a 1 and a bunch of zeros. For this customary units, completely different. Completely wonky. So if we start with capacity is like fluids, right? Your cup of water, your pint of milk, your quart of milk, your gallons of gas. These all have funky conversions. So 8 fluid ounces is 1 cup. 2 cups is 1 pint. 2 pints is 1 quart. 4 cups equals a quart. 4 quarts equal a gallon, which means 8 pints equal a gallon, and 16 cups equals 1 gallon. All funky things. I don't expect you to memorize them. I will make sure that they're up during your tests and quizzes, but you need to make sure you have access to the information during your in-class assignments. All right, length. This is probably the one you're most familiar with. Everyone knows there's 12 inches in a foot. You should know that there's 3 feet in a yard, and that there's 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And if you are familiar with 20,000 leagues under the sea, 1 league is 3 miles. You won't have to do anything with leagues on either your tests or quizzes or even your in-class, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. All right, weight. You are measured in pounds and ounces. So 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. And you guys notice how that there's fluid ounces and there's weight ounces. If it just says ounces, it's a weight measurement. If it says fluid ounces, then it is a fluid or capacity measurement. So if all you see is OZ, you're dealing with weight. If you see FLOZ, then it's dealing with fluid amounts or capacity. So again, 1 pound equals 16 weight ounces, and 2,000 pounds equals a ton. Most of the cars your parents drive weigh less than a ton, but like big trucks weigh a ton, and you usually measure full-size elephants in tons. Yes, elephants are good size, size of most of those modern trucks out there. Okay, so let's talk about dimensional analysis. Basically, we're changing 1 unit into another unit. So basically, if I say I have 10 quarts, how many gallons is that? We're going to use dimensional analysis to convert from quarts to gallons. But the amount of fluid I actually have in 10 quarts isn't changing. I'm just comparing it to a different unit. So I may have more units, but the amount that I'm actually dealing with has not changed. So if I said I've got 10 quarts, how many gallons is that? That's really what I'm going for right now. The thing is that I'm going to use the information from this page to do my unit analysis. So I'm going to figure out how many quarts are in a gallon. So let's see here. There are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So that's what I'm going to do. These are equal to each other. If I have 4 quarts, that's the exact same amount as 1 gallon of fluid. All right, so I could say like, hey, go get me that gallon jug, and someone could say, oh, you mean that 4-quart jug? And I'd be like, yeah, because 4 quarts is a gallon. It's the exact same amount. So I need to convert quarts into gallons. So I'm going to multiply by the fact that one gallon is equal to 4 quarts. The thing is that when I'm setting up my fractions, because basically we're just going to be multiplying by fractions today, is I need to set it up so that the quarts are diagonal from each other. So you guys see how one's the numerator and one's the denominator? And QT is the shortened version of quarts. They're diagonal from each other, and that means that the quarts are going to cancel out, because if I have one on the top and one on the bottom of multiplied fractions, they're going to cancel out. It'd be like, what's 1 over 1? 1. What's 4 over 4? 1. What's quarts over quarts? 1. So they're going to cancel out, but 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon. But now, let's go ahead and multiply fractions, and you can actually visualize this as, 10 quarts over 1. So now it looks like I'm actually multiplying fractions, right? I have 10 quarts over 1 times 1 gallon over 4 quarts. So now I'm just going to multiply across. 10 quarts times 1 gallon is 10 quarts times 1 gallon over 1 times 4 quarts. 1 times 4 quarts is 4 quarts. Now I have quarts over quarts, which means I can cancel them out, which leaves me just gallons. So I have 10 times 1 gallon is 10 gallons over 4. 10 over 4 gallons is 2.5 gallons. So if I have 10 quarts, I have the equivalent of 2.5 gallons. Okay, so this is dimensional analysis. You're basically just multiplying something times 1, because 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts. Because they're equal, it's 1 over 1, or just 1. I'm basically just multiplying by 1, but it's a fancy one. It's a complicated one, and I understand that, which is why we're going to do this several times now. All right, so conversion factor, 2 units that equal each other. That's what I'm multiplying by, is the conversion factor, and the conversion factor equals 1. One amount compared to the other unit amount, but they are the same amount of fluid or length or weight. Okay, moving on. Word problem. Store A and Store B each sell bags of, that's supposed to be cashews, by the way. Cashews. Cashews. For the same price, but the bags are different sizes. Which store sells the bigger bag? Therefore, you're getting more cashews for the same price, because remember, the bags are the same price. All right, so Store A has a 4 1/4 pound bag, and Store B has a 76-ounce bag. Now, the first thing you need to do is figure out which unit you want to convert to. Do we want to turn pounds into ounces or ounces into pounds? I've decided to turn pounds into ounces and then compare the number of ounces I have. Remember, the more ounces means the more cashews. So 4 1/4 pounds times 1 pound equals, we want pounds to ounces. Actually, I want pounds to ounces. So that's what? Pounds to ounces. There are 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So, 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So there's my conversion factor right there. 1 pound is equal to the same amount as 16 ounces. And you guys see how they're diagonal? They are diagonal. And remember, we're multiplying fractions, so this is the equivalent of 4 1/4 pounds over 1. But now I'm going to multiply across to numerator times numerator. This harkens back to the previous lesson, guys. So 4 1/4, which is the same as 4.25, times 16 ounces over 1 pound. A pound over a pound cancels out, leaving me just ounces because I wanted to convert from pounds to ounces. And now I've done it because I've canceled out the pounds. So 4.25 times 16 ounces is 68 ounces. And 68 ounces is how much 4 1/4 pounds of cashews is. And that was Store A. Well, Store B had 76 ounces, which means 76 ounces is more than 68 ounces, which means Store B has bigger bags. Bigger bags for the same price means more cashews for your money. Okay? All right, moving on. Using customary units, we got to convert 14 ounces to pounds. Well, I know that there are 16 ounces in a pound from the previous problem. So 14 ounces times 1 pound over 16 ounces, because 1 pound is the same as 16 ounces. I now have 14 ounces times 1 pound over 16 ounces. My ounces are going to cancel out, leaving me 14 times 1 pound over 16. 14 over 16 is equal to 7/8 pound. So 14 ounces is not a whole pound. Or it's very close though. It's very close. We only need 1/8 of a pound more to get a full pound. So there you go. All right, this is the last slide. If you want more information on dimensional analysis, there's an example on page 251 of your textbook. But that's for doing multi-step one, which I don't think I asked you to do until 8th grade. But go ahead and check it out, especially if you have more questions. The demonstration might make a little bit more sense this one. You never know. All right, let's convert 3.5 yards to feet. How many feet are in 3.5 yards? Well, we've got 3.5 yards times 3 feet over 1 yard. Again, see how my units that are the same are diagonal from each other. And again, because we're still multiplying fractions. So 3.5 yards over 1 times 3 feet over 1 yard is the same as 3.5 yards over times 3 feet over 1 yard, because 1 times 1 yard is 1 yard. But my yards, since they're on top of each other, cancel out, leaving me just feet. So 3.5 times 3 feet is 10.5. 10.5 over 1 is 10.5 feet. Okay, guys, that's it. This stuff's a little complicated, so I recommend watching this video a few times. Just remember, diagonals cancel each other out. If you can put the things that you need to cancel out diagonally from each other, because we're getting rid of yards in this case to get to feet, you're going to have it. And that's also important for doing multi-step dimensional analysis as well. Also, if you are getting into any sciences whatsoever, any science you can think of, as well as math, you're going to need to know how to do this. So it's better you learn it now. I had to learn it in college. I didn't learn it very well in middle school and high school. But you need to know this. So that's my public service announcement for the day. All right, bye guys.